Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. So this is part one of my video. For part two, I'm going to put it on my description. Part one is on my current channel, and part two is on my new channel. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you go to my new channel and you subscribe and watch the videos on my new channel as well. I'm slowly trying to get everyone to subscribe to the new channel, mainly because this channel has been heavily restricted by YouTube. So I'm looking to start fresh with the new channel and move along with that. So this is part one of the video. And the reason I'm doing part one and part two is mainly because a lot of my users, I've got 30,000 subscribers. And a lot of them will not be watching my video every single day. Sometimes they check it once a week or once every few weeks. Sometimes people check it once every few days or whenever they can. So I'm trying to slowly get people across. So I'm doing part one and part two videos. So make sure you check my description to watch part two of this video. And part two is on my new channel, and make sure you subscribe to that channel. And if you watch the video from start to end, it really helps the algorithm, guys. So thanks very much. Okay, so without further ado, let's start the show. Today I'm going to be talking about UK. I haven't spoken about the UK for a while. And I'm also going to be talking about latest developments with Iran. And on part two, I'm going to be talking about China. Its exports figure has come out. And I'm also going to be talking about China's quantum computer and other tech advances that's been happening in China. So don't miss part one or part two. And without further ado, let's start the show. So UK has been voted the second most miserable country in the world, by the way. This is hilarious. And I have to agree with them, guys. I have to completely agree. So those of you who don't know about UK recently voted for Reform. Reform Party is going to be the new party in UK, and it's very much anti-immigration. But the problem with Reform is that it's extremely racist, and they have no good policies for the economy. They have nothing for the economy, by the way. They have no good policy when it comes to foreign relations. They seem to be very much pro-Israel. Nigel Farage is very much a hardline Zionist, and Nigel Farage is the leader of Reform, by the way. And he's also a big supporter of Trump as well. So you're probably going to get the same sort of treatment in the UK, a Trump light version, if you can say. And and I'm going to kind of show you this video that's been viral, going around viral throughout Twitter, and it's basically about this guy who's interviewing Reform voters, and he just shows how low IQ they are. So I'm going to show you this video, guys.
Raj, give us a high five. To right.
I'm a Reform.
Same here. So what annoys me is that everyone thinks that Reform are all about hating immigrants.
No, it's a load of rubbish.
But I think there's so much more to us than that.
Oh, most definitely.
Of course there is. Of course there is.
What other Reform policies do you like?
I mean, I can't name them off the top of my head. To be honest with you, I can't remember them all now.
Shall I help you out?
No, give me a second.
What other Reform policies do you like?
Spend more money on the NHS.
That's actually not one of our policies. So we want to cut public services by £150 billion.
Wow. Okay. It's quite a bold statement.
We need to put an end to free healthcare.
Yeah. Do you think so?
We need to protect the wealthiest.
Yes.
So we need to cut the taxes on things like private education, private healthcare.
Yeah.
Protect the billionaires.
Climate change is a myth.
Oh, right, thank you for that.
So we need to put an end to net zero.
I don't really know too much about all that, but yeah.
I think we should ban protests altogether as well.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously people have the right to say what they want to say, but
Just do it at home, yeah?
yeah.
Do you like how Nigel supported Liz Truss's mini budget?
Yes.
100%. We support 0-hour contracts.
Yeah.
I don't like all this, like, 1 week you're working, 1 week you're not.
Well, that is actually a reform policy.
Yeah.
We want to protect the wealthy. We think it's a good idea to turn this country into a tax haven for the billionaires. That means not taxing their foreign income.
Well, you know, I think we should all pay our fair amount of tax.
Do you think those are all good ideas?
Oh yeah, great ideas.
This video shows how low IQ British people are. They don't know what they're voting for. They don't know any of reform policies. All they know is reform is anti-immigration. So what British people are doing is they're blaming immigrants for British economic issues. British economic issues has been happening for a number of years. I mean, those of you who have been following my channel, occasionally I put some British stuff up, up there. And it's been happening ever since, I can't name one particular instance, but it's just been one nightmare after another, guys. It's mainly British policies. They have destroyed their manufacturing, which is one thing. Britain used to be a very big manufacturer of cars and other items as well. So they've destroyed their manufacturing, their factories. They are very much an import country. They import goods rather than export. They have opened up the economy for America to exploit them. So, for example, if you go to the high street, all you see is American shops. All British businesses have been sold to private companies, and it's the British that have to kind of pay the dues, for companies being greedy. And British people have been paying taxes, and they've been paying inflation because each government has destroyed the dollar. I mean, destroyed the pound, destroyed the economy, and the people are just having to pay extra money for groceries and inflation. And each government has been a disaster, one after the other. And and these are the same people. These are the same people who voted for Brexit, right? I mean, look, whether you agree with Brexit or not, people voted for Brexit because of the immigration issue. And they thought that if they vote for Brexit, they can get rid of all the immigrants. So what happened is after they voted Brexit, they kicked out all the Europeans, all the white Europeans were kicked out. And in return, they let in all the basically immigrants from the rest of the world. Like, for example, Indians are coming in, and there's almost like 250,000 Indians coming in to Britain every single year. And they've been coming in for the last, God knows how many years. And there's millions and millions of Indians in UK. And then there's also other immigrants from other Muslim countries coming in as well. Afghanistan, Syria, yeah, and many other places from the Middle East because of the wars. So America and Israel starts wars in the Middle East, and all of these people who have got no homes, no hope, no life, they all head to UK, and some of them traveled via Libya. They basically destroyed Libya. Libya had a very good economy for Africa at the time. Gaddafi was running a really good economy. People were having free healthcare, free housing, free education. So what did the West do? They basically killed Gaddafi, and they've destroyed Libya. And before Gaddafi went, he warned Europe. He said, if you get rid of me, you're going to have a big migration of Africans moving through Libya and Middle Eastern as well, moving through Libya, because Libya is going to be a failed state, and they're going to go through Libya and go into Europe. And this is exactly what's happened. They're all coming through Libya. You got the Africans coming in, you got the Middle Eastern coming in, You got Asians coming in, all coming in through Libya, and all because the West decided to kill Gaddafi. I mean, yeah, great policy that was, right? So the point I'm making, right? The point I'm making is the British public are so low IQ. They are blaming the immigrants for British economic problems when it's nothing to do with the immigrants. You know, it's basically the policies of the government and the leaders at the time. So if there's anybody to blame, they need to blame themselves. They need to blame the government. This is why you don't see many British people out there protesting against the government. You know, if they do, it's very small numbers, very, very small numbers. And they're basically blaming the wrong people, guys. The immigrants are not the issue. End of the day, you know, the British are, you know, letting in legally. This is legally. You know, millions of Indians all over all over the world. They're also letting in legally. You know, other agents from other parts of the world, Pakistanis, Afghans, and other places as well. They're even getting immigrants from Africa as well. So Britain, you know, this is not the immigrants' fault. So legally, about 80-90% of immigration comes into UK legally. Only like less than 10% is illegal. They come through boats and things like that, and that's because Britain and the West destroyed their countries. We're talking about Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. You know, these are all countries, Libya even. These are all countries that have been destroyed by the West, by America, by Israel, by, you know, the Europeans. They're all in on it, guys. They're all in on it. And the European problems that, you know, Britain is having and rest of Europe is having is mainly down to them. You know, they've allowed greedy corporations to make all the money and make everyone else poor. Because they make all the money, all the greedy billionaires and millionaires in Britain, they make all the money, and the rest of the poor are left to suffer. They're all literally suffering. There's hardly any jobs in the UK, and that's because these greedy corporations are, you know, basically giving jobs to remote workers from India. You know, all the call centers, all the jobs they can outsource, they outsource it to India. And so the British people hardly got any work, and all the other jobs like, you know, retail, Starbucks, factory jobs, they're all given to immigrants, whether it's legal immigrants or illegal ones, but mainly legal ones. It's like the H-1B visas. So you get a lot of immigrants working in, you know, high street shops, legal, and lots of you know, factories and things like that. And British people, there's so many British people who are looking for work, guys. The economy is absolutely bad in Britain. I mean, I know so many graduates who have been, you know, got really good degrees. We're talking about, you know, engineering and aerodynamics and medical stuff, and they've got really good degrees, and they can't find a job. And you go to university, you come out with huge amounts of debt. You know, you come out with £100,000 debt, some even more, because it's very expensive to go to university in UK. You know, you got to pay for tuition fees, you got to pay for accommodation. If you live out, you got to pay for food, and you got to, you know, you got to survive. So things are not looking really good. And now with AI, you know, AI is now taking up a lot more jobs. While before they used to give it to the Indians, now they're giving a lot of the jobs to AI. For example, if you're using Amazon and you want to contact the customer service, you're just going to get an AI messenger messaging you, and that's the same with every single company. They're using AI to replace, you know, call center jobs and other jobs, mundane tasks. You know, the when you go to a job and sometimes there's certain tasks that humans used to do, now AI can do it. You know, the humans are only left for the complex jobs, but for the mundane jobs where you have to do, you know, click on A, click on B, click on C, click on D, just easy jobs, they just get AI to do it. So yeah, I think the whole point of this video is just the British are just so they're very low IQ. They don't know what they're voting. The same way they voted for Brexit, they don't know what the hell they were doing. They don't know what it meant, what Brexit meant. And yeah, they wanted to vote out the immigrants and Europeans, but what did they get in return? Immigration has increased over 100, 200% after Brexit, and the immigration is coming from you know poor countries, and especially from India. India is the highest at the moment, and I think Pakistan is the second highest. Afghanistan is the third highest. I have to double check the figures, but I know for a fact India is the highest at the moment. So yeah, they're barking up the wrong tree, guys. What the British need to be doing is, blaming the government for the policies. They're blaming the government for the poor running of the country, the poor running of the services, the foreign policy. They need to sort out their foreign policy. They are very much owned by Zionists. Zionists control their foreign policy. All the businesses in the high street, they're all owned by foreign companies, like American companies and other foreign companies. They're giving away every slice of UK to America. Anything, and British doesn't have anything for itself anymore. And when you give away your business to a foreign company, you that foreign company is not going to look after the interest of Britain. It's going to look after the interest of its shareholders and look after the interest of its profits, how much profit it makes. So if it means that they have to cut 10,000 jobs in Britain to save $1,000, they will do it, because these are private businesses and all they want is profit, and all they want to do is give their shareholders some profit. So they don't care about Britain. They don't care if they cut 10,000 jobs, and that's what's happening. They're giving away, every part of Britain is privatized to these private companies, and some of these companies are American, some of them are other foreign companies, like from the Middle East, for example. Some from India, even. I mean, the Indians have taken over the British Steel at one point, and first thing they did was get rid of all the jobs. So it's absolutely crazy that the state of UK, and the British people think that just by voting reform and they would just get rid of all the immigrants. It doesn't work like that. I mean, look what Trump is doing, right? I mean, he promised to get rid of all the immigrants from America. What did he do? He basically created this ICE thing, and this ICE thing, if you look at the amount of people they're kicking out from America, these numbers are not that different from Biden. You know, they're still keeping a lot more immigrants into America because they know that they need these immigrants for jobs like farming and other industries where only immigrants can do that. So you have ICE people, you have these ICE people with guns, and they're shooting Americans. They're shooting American women in the face and things like that. Absolutely crazy. And the end of the day, guys, immigration, the only reason they're letting in immigrants into the country is not because the immigrants want to come here. It's because, the companies and the governments are allowing it. And they're allowing it, mainly because obviously companies want to make a profit. So they hire these illegal immigrants or immigrants that are cheaper than local labor. So, for example, a British person here and an immigrant, apply for a job, they will hire the immigrant because he's cheaper, much, much cheaper. Because at the end of the day, companies look for profit. And also, also for population purposes as well. I mean, everybody knows that Europe and the rest of the world is suffering from the population crisis. Not enough people are making babies. So this is why Britain has opened up its doors for immigrants, because they want a larger population, because they need a population. Because if the population goes down, then tax returns, tax payments go down. They have to pay more to pensions. There's not enough young people to pay, the pensioners, and there's less people for consumption, shopping, and things like that. So they need a high population to survive. So this is what another reasons they're letting in immigrants. And I know the immigrants in the beginning, they provide no value, but the whole point is, immigrants, if they have kids, their kids will provide value. That's the whole point. Because immigration didn't start today. It started in the 60s and 70s and 80s. You have the first generation, second generation, third generation immigrants. They come from all over the world: India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, even like Hong Kong, even China as well. So they've been coming in from the 60s and 70s and 80s. So in the beginning, I think a lot of immigrants are kind of struggling, but their kids go to school, and their kids grow up, and their kids become very, very successful. Because all the successful kids in UK tend to be the immigrants. Like the Chinese kids are top of the class, the Indian kids are also top of the class as well. Because they tend to be the more, ones that become more and more successful in the UK, mainly because of their Asian parents are very strict, and they kind of push their kids more than white parents do, and also Asian parents have more of a chance staying together as well. Immigrant families, they stay together a lot longer compared to like Western families, because in UK there is a bigger population of single mothers than married, mothers. There is such a huge population of single women here, guys, single mothers, raising their own kids, because they don't stay together. It's just the world we live in at the moment. It's a crazy, crazy time we're living in, and this, men and women are having actual wars with each other at the moment. You see in social media they hate each other. You have the men who are part of the manosphere. You have women who are feminists, and they're literally fighting against each other. So the West has lots of society issues, and this is why they need the immigrants to come in. They need the immigrants to kind of make babies, and also hoping their kids will become successful and make money for the economy and things like that. That's what they're hoping. And but the thing is, right, it's not the immigrants' fault that the British economy is absolutely being destroyed. I mean, the immigrants have actually done a good job for Britain over the years. If when they came in from the 60s and 70s, a lot of the immigrants started, especially the Indian and Bangladeshi immigrants in UK. They started their own businesses in restaurants, and now the restaurants that, like the Indian restaurants and Bangladeshi restaurants, are the best cuisine in UK. There are over I think there are over 500,000 restaurants, Indian restaurants in the UK alone. That's a huge number, guys. And it is the number one cuisine in UK. And Indians and Bangladeshis tend to be very good tend to be very good entrepreneurs, and they make a lot of good money. The same with the Chinese as well that are living here. Their kids tend to be very good engineers and doctors and very successful people, or entrepreneurs as well. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end it there about UK. I'm sure you guys have heard enough. But the whole point is, Reform is the wrong party for UK. They have no policies that are going to improve UK. Like this guy was interviewing these people, and Reform was saying they're going to cut NHS, they're going to cut the hospitals, and they're going to cut the budget, they're going to cut the social services. They're going to do a lot of damage to the UK economy, but people don't care. As long as they hear immigrants out, that's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. They don't care if reform destroys the country in the process. As long as the immigrants are out, that's their policy basically. So yeah, I'll end it there. So let's talk about something else. So Netanyahu is going to meet Trump tonight. Every time Netanyahu meets Trump, there's a war. There's a war, and it's most likely with Iran. So I bet Netanyahu and Trump will come in, meet, and they're going to talk war plans, and then then Trump will listen to his master and just basically start a war somewhere, most likely Iran. So as we know, the negotiations are not going anywhere. Um, it's like water and fire at the moment, where both sides are so far apart they just cannot agree to anything. But the thing is, guys, I mean, Trump has clearly lost the war, and the people who lose the war, they have no say in the day. They have no say in in what's negotiated. In the day, Iran has decided to take over the Strait of Hormuz and charge toll, and the Americans can do nothing about it. What are the Americans going to do? Start another war? I mean, what's that going to achieve? They're just going to lose more bases, lose more money, lose more equipment, lose more people. And fighting Iran for like 40, 50 days, have they achieved any of their goals? I don't think they have. So, America has definitely lost this war, guys. And fighting Iran is they're just gonna lose more. They're gonna be dragged into a quagmire. They're not gonna achieve anything. And it's wise enough for Trump to wash his hands and just leave, just declare victory and just leave and just give the Iranians whatever they want, because at the end of the day they won. But the problem is Trump has a big ego. He's not going to do that because his ego is huge. And then he's got Netanyahu barking orders and telling him what to do. So they're meeting today, so we'll see what happens. I estimate they're probably talking about attacking Iran again. So it might happen. They normally don't attack Iran over the week. I think they might be planning it over the weekend. But we'll see. We'll see, guys. So Israel is taking a massive hammering in Lebanon, guys. I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if you've seen these videos, but you know, Hezbollah has been using FPV drones, fiber optic drones, and taking out these huge $1 million tanks and Humvees and armored personnel carriers. And these drones cost maybe less than $1,000, and they're taking out these $1 million equipment all over southern Lebanon. So Israel is taking a huge hammering, and I've heard today that basically Israel has been hammered so badly that they lost some arrow, not arrow, the Iron Dome. So this video you see on the left is basically an Iron Dome battery which fires missiles, and that got destroyed. And these Iron Dome batteries, they do not come cheap, very expensive. And this means that if they can take out these Iron Dome launching sites and batteries, then Israel becomes completely unprotected from the north. That means Hezbollah can fire missiles and drones into Israel, and Israel will not be protected. So this looks like it's a war that Israel cannot win. I mean, these FPV drones are mainly being supplied by Iran. They're also giving them the technology. And this has happened because Iran has helped Russia with the first generation Shahid drones. And then Russia improved on the Shahid drones. They improved on the technology in every aspect. And they shared that technology with Iran. And they also shared the expertise. They're fighting in Ukraine. They basically shared the expertise. Iran has learned this, and then Iran has shared it with Hezbollah. And you can see Hezbollah now using it on the battlefield. And Israel has no answer to this. Absolutely no answer, because Israel's not fighting in Ukraine, so they don't have any experience fighting with these FPV drones. So they have been absolutely hammered. The amount of money they're losing, Israel, fighting these FPV drones, they're not going to last, guys. Absolutely not going to last. They're going to be wanting another they're going to be wanting another $50 billion from American taxpayers by the looks of it. They just cannot afford it. So they're hoping America will kind of go in and attack Iran on their behalf and let American taxpayers pay for it. So it's funny watching Netanyahu come on the interview and he's saying, and the interviewer said to him, is the Iran war over? And Netanyahu replied, no, it's not over. We want the Americans to go in and finish the job and go in and take out the uranium. He's basically barking orders to the Americans, barking orders to President Trump to basically do Israel's work for him. That's what he's saying. He wants American soldiers to die, wants American taxpayers to pay for it. That's exactly what he's been saying in the interview. But yeah, Israel's taking a huge hammering, guys. Absolutely huge hammering in southern Lebanon. So finally, I spoke about this before, but I think I wanted to kind of show you this map. So Trump's idea of blocking the Strait of Hormuz. So if you guys know that, obviously Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz, but what Americans are doing, the American Navy is also blockading Iran's blockade. So any ships coming out of the Strait of Hormuz is stopped by the Americans. They tried to stop it. The blockade is extremely expensive for the Americans, by the way. They're basically having to send out ships and use all the available surveillance and intelligence and all of that. All of that costs money, guys. All of that costs money. It's costing them a real arm and a leg. However, this blockade is not working because they forgot to realize that Iran has other options. And the other options is, you can see the trade route coming from Russia into Iran via the Caspian Sea. So there's a huge amount of activity in the Caspian Sea where Russian ships and Iranian ships are going back and forth from the Caspian Sea, trading with each other. And who knows what kind of equipment they are basically swapping. And most likely military equipment, but nobody knows. Basically, America has no control of the Caspian Sea. They have no bases there. They have nothing, so they cannot stop that. Plus, there's also train line. There's two train lines going from Iran into China. One going directly from Iran into Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan. It's going via those countries, Central Asia, and into China. And another one going into Pakistan, and then from Pakistan, there's another CPEC, I believe it's called. Is it CPEC? I can't remember. But yeah, there's a CPEC that goes from Pakistan straight into China, and so those train lines are basically being used to transport goods back and forth from China into Iran. Again, they can be anything. They can be oil, they can be military equipment. Americans have no way to check or find out. There's no way they can stop this. So this blockade America is doing is just wasting money, resources. And if you look at China's oil reserves, it's not going down. It's still the same, or it's actually going up because China is actually not being affected. They are getting their oil from Russia. They're getting their oil from other friendly countries like Turkmenistan, for example, Kazakhstan. They're also getting oil from Iran via train, and also some ships are getting through as well. And also, China has got its own oil facilities, mainly in the Tarim Basin in Xinjiang, and also in Bohai Strait. There's some oil terminals, and also in the South China Sea, there's some oil terminals as well. So China is fine. They're not being affected. Plus, export figures have come out for this month or last month, and China's exports have risen last month compared to a month earlier. So China's exports are going up. They are not being affected. The only countries that are being affected are the huge oil import countries like India, like Europe. Even America has been affected. I mean, America is a huge oil seller. I agree that, but all the money they are making are made by the oil companies. It's not being made by the American people. American people are having to pay more on the pumps. So they pay more for gas. They may pay more with inflation, but the actual people who make the money in America are the oil execs and the shareholders for these oil companies. But the Americans themselves are not making money. They're not well off. They're all paying higher fees for their gas and transport and other costs, inflation and things like that. So yeah, things are not looking good, unfortunately. Anyway, guys, I've talked enough. This is the end of part one. Make sure you go to part two of the video. Part two of the video is on the description. Part two of the video is on my new channel. So when you watch part two, make sure you subscribe to that channel and try and watch the video from start to end. It really helps the algorithm. And I'll see you guys shortly. Take care. Bye bye.